I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction. Here with the feeder flash for Thursday, June the 27th, brought to you in part by Kansas Regenerative Medical Center, one of the first and largest standalone stem cell treatment centers in the Midwest. These guys are pioneers in the industry. For more information, go to kansasrmc.com. First carbon tax for cows. You know how that goes. Once they start doing that, it's just like dominoes. It's going to happen everywhere, and it doesn't matter where it begins. But it's beginning in Denmark. The government of Denmark has imposed the first ever carbon emissions tax on agriculture. It's going to amount to about $96 per head for cows. That seems kind of steep for me, and that's in our money, guys. But that starts in 2030. And then in 2035 it goes up to $241 per head. Oh my goodness. But they say they're going to use the money in measures like trying to reforestate the country and establish wetlands, things like that. The Danish dairy industry, which it's mostly dairies, they don't have a lot of beef cattle over there, but Danish dairy industry says they welcome this new tax that's on there. I guess they don't want to piss them off or something. But Europe's largest dairy group says that farmers that are trying to do everything that they can, whether it's feed additives or whatever it is, to try to limit the emissions, they should not be taxed. And I would pretty much agree with that too. But it hasn't been very long since the European Union and heavily the Danish were doing protests, agriculture protests. You remember they were, when they were in their tractors and blocking the roads and things like that. The governments over there are just making it so tough on agriculture people, and there's not a lot of land over there to do land. I think if they would just let some of those people get hungry. It seems like the Green Initiative is not so important whenever the people that are fighting it or behind it are hungry. So I know that's hard to do, but you've got to teach those people that you're trying to feed the masses there, doing the best you can, and I'm not so damn sure that it causes all these greenhouse gas emissions anyway. It's funny to me, we're just in the last several years seeing that. When you look over the tops of dairies and large confinement cattle feeding operations, you don't see the smog that you see over the cities where they've got a lot of traffic and things. But that's what they're trying to push, and it seems awfully convenient that with a stroke of Secretary Vilsack's pen, that we have mandatory ID on all of our breeding stock now. So maybe if they decide that they want to do charge carbon taxes on our cows, it would be very easy for them to do it. They've already got it on all the dairy cattle, and now they're going to do it on all the beef breeding stock. And no matter where you've got them, I'm sure they can send a drone in there with a wand and scan those and send you a bill for that, and make sure you're completely up to date on your taxes for your breeding stock. But and it doesn't seem like anybody's really wanting to fight that mandatory ID on the breeding stock. Of course, they told us whenever they announced it that it was going to be 6 months, but we haven't seen anybody get out in front with a pokey stick for us to fall in behind and fight the deal. And so I guess it's going to come out in the Federal Register, and it's going to be a new rule that we all have to go by. And I'm not saying that it can't be done. Basically, just make those OCV, the calf foot vaccination tags, EID, and then all you'd have to do is do a few breeding bulls, things like that, and you can have that done. But as long as we don't stand up and fight this mandatory ID at the level that it's at, they are going to bring it on all classes. And you know how much I'm against that. You know how much most everybody is against that. You know how it will ruin our auction industry, cattle auction industry. We just can't do it, not on all classes, people. But if we don't put up some kind of a fight or put some kind of a barrier in between mandatory ID on the breeding stock and all classes, one day we'll just wake up and Secretary Vilsack will strike his pen again and impose that on us. So we've got to get something in between what they've already imposed on us and what they want to impose on us. But we had $2 fats direct basis on Wednesday. We've never seen that before. It wasn't a lot. It was in Iowa. Direct basis FOB $2 fats. Of course, they've been bringing way over that in the auctions in the Midwest there, so we knew it was going to happen. I don't think that will be the price, or it could be. Of course, your board was up. I guess they thought that maybe your June live cattle, the spot month, since we've only got a couple of more days to trade, they thought that they ought to get it somewhere with an eye shot of what the cash market is. Not sure why. It doesn't matter. You can't demand delivery or anything, and it's not a cash settlement. So I'm not sure why it did that, but it did go up quite a bit on Wednesday. Too little, too late, and still not anywhere near where our fats are selling at. But I'm not sure if that will be the established price, but that's where some cattle sold on Wednesday. Don't forget about your Punchy Pick of the Month contest. We will be awarding the grand prize winner of the Punchy Pick of the Month here in just a few days, guys. Last day that we broadcast the feeder flash of the month is when we do that. When you do, you're going to receive a huge box at your front door. It's going to be full of all kinds of cool swag from Beaver Feed Company, Beaver County Stockyards, Fair Peace, NationalBeefWire, Feeder Flash, and then it's also going to have that whole case of Fair Peace in it, the revolutionary product that's scientifically proven. Check out the video I'm going to put at the end of this Feeder Flash and find out more information about Fair Peace. Let's look at your board on Wednesday. June live cattle futures, like I said, up 345 to close at 192.92. Now remember, our latest cash weighted average for your 5-area feeding region was almost 195. So still a pretty good basis there. August was up 232 at 186.75. We're selling cattle for $2 live FOB, and our August live cattle futures are 186.75. Now you've seen why people hate the board so much. Your back months were up 70 cents on the far outs to up 177 closer by. August feeder cattle up 272, just following the live cattle at 261.77, getting out ahead of your index levels again. September up 240 at 262.47. Your back months are up $2.30 to up 265. July corn, Chicago Board of Trade was down a penny at 4.19 a bushel. Beans are up 2 3/4 cents at 11.65.5. Kansas City hard red winter wheat down a penny at 5.79. Your fat cattle trade didn't see a lot, but in Iowa we did see 700 sell on a direct basis there. They've sold 1,400 head for the week. And your live FOB sales in Iowa were $1.97 to $2 even. And that's the first time we've seen $2 trade on a direct basis. They did have some dress sales at $3.14, which is awfully good too. Nebraska didn't have anything. Kansas didn't have anything on Wednesday, but late Tuesday, somebody traded around 1,200 head in Kansas at $188. Now, just a few days earlier, they were selling it from 189 to 190, and even some at 191. Why does somebody want to puke them at 188? Don't understand that. It's hard to get behind somebody that's going to do that unless they're getting paid under the table to report that and try to get the market established there. Texas, no sales so far this week. Did have a couple of fat cattle auctions we can look at. Sioux Falls Regional Livestock in Worthing, South Dakota sold choice steers steady to $3 higher on Wednesday. Conventional cattle brought 195 to 201, and program cattle from 194 to $200.50. So I guess the programs weren't too big of a deal there. They did sell dairy Holstein steers from 165 to 168. Another fat cattle auction at Watertown, South Dakota at Glacial Lakes Livestock. Conventional cattle bring from 188 to 197, and program cattle from 196 to 202, which makes a little bit more sense. How about box beef cutout values? They were lower, not so much on the choice, but select down quite a bit. Choice cuts on Wednesday afternoon down 54 cents at 322.85. Selects down 240 at 302.86. Slaughter up through the first 3 days of this week, 353,000 harvested. That's 7,000 less than last week, 24,000 less than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. How about Legend Bank? I know you guys, a lot of you guys are struggling to find financing on your cattle operation. If you're looking for fast and efficient cattle financing, if you live in Texas or in Oklahoma, you can go to North Texas at Legend Bank and get a hold of Greg Brooks or Ricky Taylor. They know the cattle business. They want to help you. They are seeking cattle business there. So get a hold of them and see what they can do for you. Don't forget, Legend Bank is a member of FDIC. All loans are subject to credit approval, and they are an equal housing lender. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DVAuction late in the day on Wednesday, based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states, was sitting at 257.35. That was up 84 cents compared to the end of Tuesday's trade. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index, 258.31. But look at that steer tracker on there. A lot of people don't know what that is. That is the last 25 sales of 5 head or more in the auctions that we have reported with Cattle Market Central through DVAuction there. And the steer tracker average was 263.17. So that's the latest sales there on some groups of steers that fit that index category. I'm going to want to tell you guys that are out east, Stanton Union Stockyards in Stanton, Virginia is going to have a big sale on Friday. It's on DVAuction. They've got 11 loads of feeder cattle on there. 8 of those are going to be in-house video type sales, and 3 of them going to be coming through the ring. But if you're looking for a potload of feeder cattle, you guys up in Pennsylvania or wherever you're at, Eastern Corn Belt, Stanton Union Stockyards on Friday is the place to look for those. Also, don't forget about the Blue Stem Special with Coffeyville Stockyards. It's going to be in Copan, Oklahoma at the Crossbell Ranch on Saturday evening. I'm going to be there. If you've got nothing to do and you're close by, come out there. Say hi to me. I'm going to be there setting up and taking the bids online for that sale. Going to have steak sandwiches, cash bar, but it is a family-friendly atmosphere, and it's beautiful out there at the Crossbell. Don't forget, on July the 2nd, going to have the Big Bang Primetime Livestock Video through Joplin Regional Stockyards. It's going to be at Pittsburgh, Kansas, there at the Kansas Crossing Casino there, and they've got over 60,000 head on offer. So don't forget to check out that sale. And don't forget, if you guys are still interested in coming to the 50th Annual Independent Cattlemen's Association of Texas Convention, it's not too late. You can still come. It's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We're going to be having a good time in San Marcos, Texas. Call them up, do your registration on the phone, tell them about Feeder Flash. They'll give you a discount. You can get into that hotel there where we're having it in San Marcos. Lots of stuff to do around there. It'll be a real interesting agenda that we'll have, and some good entertainment there too. Check out your big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, 9,400 head. The lion's share of them were feeders for Wednesday. They did have a lighter run of calves on Tuesday, but the cows and bulls, they're not going to have a sale next week. So this is the last feeder sale until after 4th of July. But they are going to have cows and bulls on July the 1st, on Monday, July the 1st. So be wary of that, or be wary of that, I guess, not weary. Be wary of that, that most all your sale barns will be closed at some point during the 4th, except for Joplin Regional Stockyards. They're going to have sales right through Not sure if they're going to have a cow sale on that Wednesday there, but they are having feeder sales straight through. But in El Reno, Oklahoma at OKC West, 9,400 head this week. Feeder steers were $5 to $8 higher. Feeder heifers were fully steady. Your calves, those that were weaned, were fully steady. Your unweaned calves had a lower undertone there at OKC West and El Reno this week. They were your National BeefWire stick-out sale of the day. Just your Wednesday sale, the feeder sale there. But you look hugely tested weight groups there. About 996 head of 7-weight steers. They averaged 748 with a weighted average price of $259. 1,860 head of 8-weight steers in El Reno averaged $851 at $251.34. There were nearly 1,800 head of 9-weights. They averaged $960 with a weighted average price of $241.52. Look at the heifers. 203 head of 6-weight heifers averaged $637 at $240.65. 826 head of 7-weight heifers averaged 754 pounds at $237.91. And 676 head of 8-weight heifers in El Reno, Oklahoma at OKC West, they averaged $849 with a weighted average price of $220.58. The stick-out individual quote out of El Reno was the Speaks Ranch. I tell you what, some high-altitude Oklahoma mountain cattle. And you guys are thinking, what? But from over in southeast Oklahoma on the Arbuckle area there, the Speaks Ranch brought in a big long string of cattle, including 620 steers, weighed 994 and bring 245 and a quarter. Let's check out the highest calves in the nation at Bassett Livestock Auction in Bassett, Nebraska, also broadcasting on DVAuction now. 6,800 head there. And look at these high calves. They would be weaned fall calves, guys. But I'm going to look at the calf weights. About 509 head of 5-weight steer calves in Bassett, Nebraska. They average 567. The weighted average price of $355.14. Wow. 1,056 head of 6-weight steer calves in Bassett average 648 at $328.31, and 433 head of 7-weight steer calves in Bassett, Nebraska average 737 at $293.69. Wow. How about some heifers? A couple weight groups of them. 738 head of 5-weight heifer calves average 561 at $331.47. 696 head of 6-weight heifer calves, Bassett, Nebraska, average 647 at $296.71. Give you some individual quotes that were very impressive from all around. How about Tri-County Stockyards in Motley, Minnesota? They sell 68 steers, weigh 801 and bring 265. Wow. How about Creston, Iowa? Was our first day to ever broadcast on DVAuction. They got a lot of bids on there too on Wednesday. 70 steers weighed 832 and bring 270 in Creston, Iowa, right near your farmer feeders there in the Midwest. But how about down in the Southeast, another DVAuction broadcaster, North Arkansas Livestock in beautiful downtown Green Forest, Arkansas. They sell 126 steers. Yeah. At Green Forest, Arkansas, 126 steers weighed 841 and bring 259.85. Wow. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday in your Mackerson, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Bassett, Nebraska, Bassett Livestock Auction. It was 78 steers, weighed 770. That close to 800 pounds, guys. Bring $3 a pound. Don't forget their next sale is going to be after 4th of July, July the 10th sale. They will have their barbecue special, and get braced for those prices, guys. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.
So my dad was a veterinarian growing up. Always been on the ranch here. I love the ranch life and I like the medicine. Having my own herd, my clients come in and say, I want to do what you do. Or they'll see something in a magazine, what do you think of this? Figuring I've already probably played with it on my own herd. So I saw Fair Peas and thought, well, this is going to be foo-foo dust. But I will try it because I know some clients are going to say, what do you think of it? Have you tried it? So I weaned my first set of calves and I did the whole herd, 100% of them. And we were working cattle and I walked out. They'd been weaned the day before. We process them the morning after we get them home. We haul them home from about 20 miles away. So after I'd done the first group of calves that I had processed before, the steers, they were all laying down or they were at the bunk. And I'm like, oh, you guys got to come out and see this. And so they all come out and they're like, oh, that's kind of cool. But we'd done the whole group. Everybody was quiet. And I'm like, okay, so we need to split this baby up. And so the second time we weaned, I did my steers with the Therapies. And I skipped the heifers. And so I was kind of monitoring. First day, the steers cleaned the bunk. The heifers, I bet they ate 25%. We had to scatter it through the bunk, fluff it up. They didn't even eat enough to refill the bunk. The next day, and I kind of watched to see the heifers definitely never settled down. They were in and out, they were circling, they didn't care to eat. The steers, they'd go to the water tank, they would drink. They didn't just leave because everybody else leave. They meandered around the pen by themselves. They weren't circling. And the appetite was so much better. And so then I saw this on the next day and I videoed that I pulled up to the bunk and all the steers were at the bunk. 6 of the heifers were at the bunk. And when he pulled up with the feed wagon, all the heifers ran to the back side of the pen who had not received the Therapies, and the steers backed up about 12 feet, and as soon as he had moved on down the bunk, they were back at the bunk eating. And I'm like, this is really, really cool. Kind of curious to see what would happen if I treated the calves while we were processing them with Therapies and see when we got to the summer pasture whether they would be as reactive up there as if I had not used the Therapies. And so we hauled them, and the calves, they pair up better, they're more calm, they aren't circling pens when they can't find mama, they're quieter, you hardly hear the calves bawl at all, a little bit of talking, but it seems like when I have done that, when mama comes or the cows start to cry, the calves hear her and they pair up easier. I did have a client who, after using it last year, thinks everything that he buys will receive it, which I think it's a no-brainer.